still in school and that you are not idle despite the pandemic. And we continue to pray that we will get over this situation very, very soon so that we can go back to our old normal, no? And hopefully that you can graduate. Okay, by the way, we are also live on YouTube. So for those of you who were not able to enter the Zoom link, you can also watch our session today on our official YouTube channel of the University of Mindanao. No? Okay, so let me share my screen for my PowerPoint presentation. Welcome to our CAED 500. CAED 500, as mentioned by Benji, is a course offered to our senior students, no? But I understand that some of you are not yet in your final years or final semester in schooling. But it's okay as long as you can enroll the course and you will get something out from the course. The course is offered to help you bolster your chances of getting the job that you want, help you prepare for your pre-employment journey later on after your graduation. No? Because when you graduate, you will be looking for jobs and then you are going to compete with other applicants, probably your classmates today, or also those graduates of other universities and other schools. So we hope that in this course, we can help you improve your chances of being hired and being chosen among the many applicants of the position that you wish to have. CAED 500, by the way, has three components. No, aside from this is a unique course because we're the only university offering this course. Another unique practice of the course is that there are three components, and each component is handled by different professor, different facilitator. Component A is handled by the Guidance and Testing Center, and that is 30% of your grade. And understand that you have started already your session when the semester started, no, when the term classes started. I think first 2 weeks of your classes, you were with the Guidance and Testing Center. No, for component B and component C, you are under the external relations. No, so you are under our office. Why I am telling this to you so that you will know in case you have problems in your grade, you will know whom to approach and what office to go. No, because the possibility might be you have lacking requirements in one component. That's why you have no grade for the course. It's important that you need to get a grade for the course for you to be able to complete, no, the curriculum, the your enrolled curriculum. All right. So B, you have 30%, and component C, you have 40%. So that's the distribution of grades for your CAED 500. So please take note of that. No. And this is how you are being assessed for CAED 500. For component B, your seminar today is 35 points and you will be asked by the CAED 500 facilitators, no? Si either ang mga teacher ninyo, ang facilitator ninyo, si Lady May Untong or si Benji Maynopas or si Ma'am Isa Monte de Ramos, no? Or si Trisha Dingal or si Glenn Louis Banoy, no? Sila yung mga CAED facilitators ninyo, no? So they are the one in charge of monitoring your performance in the LMS. So they are the one also giving your assignments, checking your sample outputs and the like. So you have to make it sure that you follow and you check your LMS specifically for CAED 500 from time to time. And then for componency, there will be another seminar. And those CAED 500 facilitators that I mentioned, they are going to schedule a mock interview in your respective classes for them to be able to rate your performance, no, your ability to face yourself in a job interview. Okay, and you will also be required to submit a career portfolio. That's why these CAED facilitators that I mentioned, they will give you specific instructions on how to go about your career portfolio. Okay, so let's start for our session this afternoon. For this afternoon session, we are going to talk about two important things. No, one is how to prepare cover letter and resume, and cover letter, or popularly known as application letter, and resumes are two important documents. In fact, I consider this one as most important because you cannot proceed to the next level of your screening process, no, of your application process, if your cover letter and resumes are not well written. No, they do not adhere to the standard, to the likings of the interviewer or to the organization. So that's why you have to be careful, especially in preparing your cover letter and your resume. The other one, the other topic that we are going to talk about today is how are you going to manage yourself in a job interview? And we understand that job interview is one of the most dreaded, might be an exciting part, but considered to be dreaded experience that you are going to have in your application journey. Okay. And probably the nonverbal communication, we are going to discuss that on our next session. Okay. So let's start with cover letter, or popularly known as application letter. Why write a cover letter? You know, regardless of your program, regardless of your discipline, of your course, what career you are in right now, whether you're into criminology, engineering, teacher, education, or business administration, there will come a point in your career, no, when you graduate and when you work and you have your career, there will come a point, many instances in your career, that you have to communicate and that you have to write. And submitting your application letter, writing your application letter, is one way of assessing your ability in communication. No? The second reason why you have to submit, no, write a application letter, because you might be asking, pwede naman siguro wala ang application letter kasi may resume naman, no? Ang importante lang naman nila makita ano ang kurso ko, ano ang experience ko. No, no. So the other one is that the application letter is like an endorsement letter, no? It will give them a reason, the HR or the hiring officer or the interviewer. The application letter will give them a reason whether they are going to proceed, continue reading the rest of your documents, or that, you know, pagsulat mo pa lang may problema na. So why would I spend time reading the rest of your documents? All right. So you have to highlight your particular skills, past work history, or other areas that are specific to the job that you are applying. In short, you are saying there in your application letter that this is the meat, this is what you will expect if you continue reading my documents and browsing my documents. Remember that because these HR people, the hiring officer, the one who will read your documents, are busy people, and when they read that, they will only read that skimmingly. No, they are not like your teachers, your professors in the university, that they really have to spend so much time reading all your assignments and all your answers. No, they're not. They will only read that skimmingly. Okay. So therefore, it's important that how are you going to package, how are you going to write these documents in such a way that at a first glance, it will catch their attention. And the other reason is that remember that in one position, there's a dozen or two of you competing and applying for the position. And your application letter is the first base for you to set yourself apart from the competition. It's the first base for you to say that these are your competitive advantage over the other applicants. All right. So how are you going to write a winning cover letter, a cover letter, an application letter that will catch the attention of the interviewer, of the hiring officer? Well, simple. You just adhere to the standards. You just adhere to the formal way, no, of writing an application letter. Because if you follow the standards, it means to say that you know what is the standard, all right? But if you veered away from the standard, if you don't follow from the standard, therefore there is something wrong with you. No, you do not know how to follow rules, observe rules, no, and norms. Okay, so usually you write there the heading. You have the heading, and then you have the inside address. I'm telling you, I think equally important with the body of the letter is the inside address. Why is that so? Because if you're going to write a letter, like address the letter to me, first thing that I'm going to check is that whether you have mentioned my name because the letter is addressed to me, the letter is intended for me, and whether you have put my name. Why is that so again? Because it means that if you have written my name and we do not know each other, it means that you have exerted extra effort of knowing to whom you are going to address the letter. All right? So therefore, first thing that you are going to do is that make it sure, get the name, exact name, correct spelling of the person whom you are going to address the letter. You can contact the office, you can go to the HR. Usually it's the HR in charge of that. You can go to the HR and inquire from them, that tell them that you are interested to submit a letter, an application letter, and that you would like to get the name of the addressee, because every company and every institution and agency, they have their own standards and protocols, no? For example, others, you can submit and address your letter to the HR. Others, you can address the letter to the specific department that you wish to apply, no, in an organization. Others naman, you address the letter to the president, regardless whether the HR will process the application and whether you will work in other office, but you have to address that to the president or to the head of the organization, something like that, no? So you have to make it sure to whom you are going to address, get the correct spelling, and get the exact position. All right? Di pwede magkamali ang posisyon, no? Kasi ano yan, kaya nga may posisyon, may nga binigyan ng posisyon, because that's one thing that you need also to observe, and that's how are you going to address the person. Okay? Kung mali-mali ka na sa posisyon, tama ang spelling mo, tama ang pangalan, mali ang posisyon, hindi ka again nag-exert ng extra effort. Alright? Hindi mo yon ni-research ahead of time. Eh, expected yan from you because you are trained in a university, di ba? You were given all the tips, no? And the instructions when you were still in the university. So expected yan from you na dapat magaling ka, marunong ka kung paano, anong gawin mo. Alright? And then address, name of the company, and then the address. Okay? And then you have their salutation. You have to be formal sounding in this part. Do not use dear, no, because dear will diminish the formal tone, no, the formality of the communication. So you just write there, for example, if it is Miss Jo Auntie Santos, then you write there Miss Santos. Okay? And then you have introductory paragraph. In the introductory paragraph, you state how did you get to know the information about the job opening and mention your interest for the position. Okay? For example, in response to the May 18 advertisement in Mindanao Times, I have enclosed my resume for the marketing assistant position. All right? So you see, as I said, two things that you have to watch out on the first or in the introductory paragraph. How did you get to know the information about the position and your interest? Why is it important that you cite where did you get the information? No? Well, one is that they would like to find out, especially if they did a massive information dissemination of the job position, they would like to find out whether the mechanism of disseminating the information is effective or not. Okay? Sandali lang ha. So they want to find out whether it's effective. That's why you can cite that, no? If you have not read that somewhere, and if somebody told you that there is a vacancy, then you can also include that, no? That Mr. So and so, who is connected in your company, inform me of the opening. Okay. The second paragraph or the middle paragraph, that's where you are going to describe your qualifications, no? Point out any related experience you have, maybe from your OJT or professional work. Sell your skills and knowledge relevant to the position. So there are two things, no, in the second paragraph. Just like in the first paragraph, there are two things that you have to watch out. One is that information about the position, and second, your interest. In the second paragraph, again, there are two things. One is that how are you going to mention your qualification? One, you cite your experience, your work experience. That is important, no? That is important because it will give an idea that you have you you have at least a little experience about working, about being in a company, about following an orders from a supervisor, something like that. Okay, that's very important to them, so you have to mention that. And second is that what are the attributes, the characteristics that you possess that are related to the position, which you think that are relevant and helpful in the performance of the function. Okay, ano yung attributes mo, ano yung meron ka na pwede, no, na makatulong sa pag-perform sa trabaho. Okay? So that's the second paragraph. Then you go to the closing paragraph. So you observe there are three paragraphs suggested. So the suggestion there is that there are only three paragraphs, no? And the closing paragraph is that you close by thanking the reader and requesting for an interview, no? So you thank and then tell them that you are willing to come and share many of your qualifications at their most convenient time. So you can leave your contact number and your email address, and then you close. No, you say sincerely. That's a very formal sounding closing, complimentary close, rather than sasabihin mo very truly yours. Hindi yun siya formal, no? Tagalogin mo ang very truly yours. Ako'y iyong buong buo, no? So hindi siya formal. And remember that this kind of letter, this kind of conversation is a very formal one. Okay? So you have to be, meron tayong tinatawag na corporatist sounding, no, or legalese sounding in your application letter. All right? So after, this is an example of an application letter. So you have there the date, the name of the addressee, Mr. Dexter Baluran, human resource staff. Usually mataas na posisyon, no? Pero baka ang bigay na instruction sa kanya, dito mo lang i-address. So kaya human resource staff, no? SPMC, Institute of Psychiatry and Behavioral Medicine, Claveria Street, Davao City. Ayan, Mr. Baluran. I would like to apply for internship in the Medical Psychiatric Department to join your STEAM organization. I saw a listing advertisement on your advertised on your official website searchingforjob.com about your company need of interns. Ayan. So again, let's go back to the criteria of writing your first paragraph, that where did you get to know the information and your interest. All right? Ayan. So meron siya sinabi sa second paragraph about his experience, 1 year experience of being a previous officer. Most of the things that he cited here are experience while he was still in school, no? Okay. So this is a sample application letter done by our student before in CAED 500 last year, and I think this student won the best portfolio award, no? So merong competition tayo, no? We will award students who have submitted a best portfolio, and then we are going to show that to everybody and showcase that this is the best portfolio, no? Your CAED 500 facilitators will give you instruction on how you will prepare your career portfolio. We encourage you to have your portfolio because we want that, what's inside in the portfolio. Anything that speaks about your career, your qualifications, no, your experience related to your ability and your competencies. And that's why you are going to put that in one file. So, ganun lang gud yan, no? So, para as early as now, you will be trained to keep all your documents, mga certificates, and other materials that are helpful in your application and in your career. Next up is resume. So it says here that the resume is your personal brochure to market yourself. It should give your potential employer a quick view of what you can do for them. So just like, if you are planning to buy a new laptop or a new cell phone, 'di ba? Most likely the first thing that you are going to do is you grab a sheet of brochure of those stuff and then check out whether the specs are aligned with your interest, no, with your likings, with what you are looking for from a particular laptop or a particular cell phone. Okay, the same thing in a resume, no. Resume is considered to be your brochure, and your hiring officer is looking for so many brochures, and he want to see and skim whether these brochures are within to his likings, now within to the criteria and qualifications that he or she is looking for from an applicant. All right, so that's how are you going to treat your resume. Mm. So for new graduates, you can list your accomplishments in school. Do not worry about not having work-related accomplishments. You can pick out those school accomplishments that show responsibility, reliability, cooperative spirit, and the like. Common questions among new graduates or among those who are novice in the world of work, just like you, is that, you have these uncertainties that do you think you can be given the chance, the opportunity to work in a company, if you are going to compete with someone who has better experience than you are, years of experience, the thing there is that in your case, you will not apply for a job that requires, higher level of qualifications with years of experience. You know what I mean? Usually you apply for an entry level position. You need the experience and slowly you go up to the ladder of success in your career, all right? So, kung nag-graduate na kayo, bago pa kayo nag-graduate, in most cases, ang a-applyan ninyo na trabaho is yung entry level. Kung may mag-apply who has better years of experience than you are for an entry level position, I think hindi siya threat sa inyo, no? There is something wrong with that applicant. Why is it that at his or her achievements and probably of age, why is it that he is still applying for that entry level position? Where in fact that is not intended for him. Kaya totoo yung sinasabi natin na overqualified ka na for the position. No one will accept you. No one will hire you if you are overqualified for the position. So most likely, mag-a-apply ka sa entry level position. Ngayon, ang punto doon is that sinasabi natin, kailangan meron kang value-added feature, no? Value-added something in you that will make you competitive advantage, no? I mean, that will give you competitive edge over the other applicants. You know what I mean? So look at around, see around. Try to see your classmates today, your batchmates in the future. They might be your competitors. And you also have to see graduates from other schools, from other universities. Sila din magiging competitor mo. Ngayon, ang punto doon is that anong meron ka na wala sila at anong meron sila na wala ka na pwede pagdating ng panahon paglabanan ninyo, magiging deciding factor ng hiring officer, especially so if you really want to be part of that company and if you really want that job badly, so badly, no? Okay? So, ang sinasabi ko is that this is the perfect time to prepare yourself, all right? To bolster yourself with all the trainings and preparations. Kailangan mo yan. Hindi pwede na isang simpleng estudyante ka lang. I mean, walang masama doon, no? Isang estudyante ka, pumapasok ka sa school, and that's it. Okay? Umuwi ka sa bahay o nasa bahay ka, walang problema. Hindi ka working, walang problema. But ang problema doon is that in a competitive world, ikaw ganun ka, pero yung ibang aplikante, aside from they have good grades, no? When I say good grades, hindi naman natin sinasabi na cum laude ka or magna cum laude ka, no? Not necessarily with Latin honors. Basta ang punto doon is, okay, pumasa ka, no? Pero there are other value-added things in you. Like for example, meron kang exposure sa school, may volunteer work ka sa school, no? May mga extension program ka, may mga leadership activities ka when you were still in school. It tells so much about your ability, about your personal characteristics, all right? So, kung ako ang HR, I will really take notice of that. There is something about this applicant that makes him or her different from the rest. All right. So while you are still in school right now, dapat make the most of your time while you are still here in school. So the suggested format for your resume are, okay, you have your name, your address, your contact number, and your email address. These two are also very important, especially these are the most efficient way of giving you feedback on the status of your application. Whether do you need to move to the next level of the screening process, or you need to submit more documents, no, to support your application, then this is how they are going to contact you. Kaya make it sure that you have your contact number 24 hours, no, round the clock, and you maintain your own email address, and you keep on opening that email address of yours. Okay. Your summary statement is a gist of your qualification. You know what I mean? You are you are getting something from the many things that you have mentioned in your resume, and in a statement or two, how are you going to summarize your qualifications? All right. And by reading also the summary statement, the hiring officer, you are giving the hiring officer the reason to continue reading your resume and all other documents that you have submitted. Ayan. Your work experience, including your OJT and your apprenticeship, no? Your job responsibilities. So if you have your OJT exposure, if you have your immersion, if you have your professional work experience, then you can mention there what are the specific assignments that you have. Because if I am the employer, no, I am the hiring manager, I am interested to look at kung ano yung mga ginagawa mo sa iyong work experience, and find out whether these are relevant, even if these are not exactly the same specific work that you are going to do in my company, in my organization. But at least you have this experience. And once you have this experience, even if ours here is different, it will not be difficult for me to teach you how to perform the task. All right. I hope you follow what I'm saying. Okay. And then your accomplishments. No, what are your other accomplishments? Your accomplishments will tell the potential employer that, you are that kind of person that you take an extra mile. No, you are that kind of person who really go out from your comfort zone. No, you are the kind of person who extend beyond boundaries. No, you are the kind of person who are not afraid to take a risk, because your generation must be a risk taker, no? Especially kung young ka pa, dapat ano ka, no, punong-puno ka ng excitement regardless of any uncertainties and any volatilities that you may encounter along the way. But the thing there is that you will lose nothing by taking a risk. Kasi nga, isip mo, you will never go you will never experience that path again in your life. No, it will just come into your life once. No, so that's why, because taking a risk and failing is better than not taking a risk at all right. Okay. And then your education. So this is how are you going to take a look at the PowerPoint, and this is how are you going to write your resume. You see, there is nothing spectacular and there is nothing surprising in writing the resume. But what I'm trying to say is that simplify your resume and tailored fit that one to the interest and to the needs of your potential employer. Okay. So a resume should answer these key questions. Number one, what can you do for me? Okay. Do you have the skills I'm looking for? Where have you worked before? Is your experience relevant to my needs? And do you have the right education and credentials? So items 1 and 5 speak about your competencies, no, your ability, no, your skills, something in you that whether you can perform the job or not. Okay. Number 6, what kind of person are you? Speaks about your attributes, no? Your behavior, your attitude which again are necessary to the performance of the job. Okay? And where can I contact you? So, ito lang, when you write your resume, go back to these questions, you screenshot, no? Screenshot this one, no? Copy this one, and this will serve as your checklist in writing your resume, whether you have responded, whether you have answered to each of these questions in writing your resume. Okay? So how long should a resume be? Well, we said, pabalik-balik ko sinasabi that HR are busy. They don't have so much time reading your paper, reading your documents. So prepare a documents that are short but concise, okay? Full of substance and responsive to the needs of the company. So 2 pages only, no more than that. It's not a curriculum vitae. One different thing between a resume and a curriculum vitae is that when you write a CV, you will have a number of pages, no? The more pages you have in a CV, the better. In a resume, the shorter and the more concise your resume, the better. Okay? What should I include in my personal data? Well, in general, avoid facts that may be used to discriminate against you. That's why do not include there your height, your religion, and your weight. What has have this information got to do in you performing the job? No, unless height, nag-apply ka ng flight attendant, di ba? Pwede siguro, pwede naman talaga no na may height requirement because di pwede na 4'9" ka, mag-apply ka ng flight attendant, no? Tapos, o di ba, di ka kaabot dito sa cabin. So, ayon ka pa sa pasahero para ma-push di mo to iyahang mga luggage, no? Di ba? For criminology, I do not know if it's still applicable, but I have read in a paper that the Congress has approved that no more height requirement for those applying in the NBI. No? Tama ba ako? No? Criminology. Kasi ang alam ko, for criminology, requirement ang height ng mga mag-a-apply sa either sa police force or sa NBI. Okay? Should I put my photo in my resume? Well, my personal opinion here is do not put your picture because again, a picture will also open door for discrimination. And the other one is that um kuan kasi di ba? Sometimes others, we know that we are not endowed with good looks. And because we have biases toward good looks, no? Parang kaya huwag kayo maniwala dun sa lumabas na survey na 4 out of 5 nagsasabi that in a relationship, they're looking for intelligence rather than looks. Oh, etos lang yan, no? Uh, that's human nature that once we see a person, a nice looking person, we want to see a nice looking person, no, di ba? So, they have advantage in a job interview and we have that thinking, no? And sometimes we know that we are not endowed with good looks and we ask the photographer to do something about our picture. So pagdating sa job interview, yan ang sinasabi ni Benji na meron tayong tinatawag na reality versus expectation. Okay? Ito yung expectation mo kasi maganda pagkakuha. Pagdating sa reality, hindi pala, no, 'di ba? So better not to. At saka bigyan mo ng element of surprise, no? And mystery kung walang picture. Wala siyang picture. Matawag nga for interview para makita natin kung how he or she looks like, o 'di ba? So later na yung picture, okay? What about references? References, these are names of persons that you will include either in your resume, and that the employer, the hiring officer, will contact them and will ask them some questions about you. The reference persons are supposed to vouch, no? They're supposed to validate the truthfulness of the things that you mentioned in your resume. Because paano ko ngayon, ako hiring officer, paano ko ngayon malaman that what you are saying in the resume, what you have mentioned in the resume are true? So I'm going to call somebody, no? And this somebody is your reference person, and make it sure that you inform them ahead of time that you have applied for this particular position and this particular company, and anytime soon they will receive a call from this company. and that you are asking their help to, speak nice, no, something nice about you. All right. So, or you can give them a copy of your resume. For example, if there are important details, no, or specific information in your resume that possibly they do not know about you, so you can share the resume to them, to your reference person. Okay. Your summary statement, I already mentioned that summary statement is a statement or two about yourself. In short, all the information that you have written in your resume, summarize that in 1 to 2 sentences. And how are you going to do that? Well, the best way to do that is number one, say something about your experience, no, work experience, and number two, about your attributes, no, about your characteristics, about your personality that are related to the position that you are applying, no. So for example, I have here an example, no. Let's take a look at this, no. You have here an achiever with a track record of leadership in handling school organizations. So take note that the first statement there talks about the experience of the applicant while he or she was still in school, no. Leadership, so most likely active siya sa mga student organizations and the like. This is a very generic statement. There's no specific skill required from here, no. There is no specific skill, but probably the position is looking for one, no. The company is looking for someone who has a better leadership ability or leadership quality, no. Okay, so that's the first statement. Take note that the succeeding statements talks about the attributes, no, that I told you. So anong meron ka, anong characteristics mo, which you think are also relevant to the position. So pag ganito ang yung summary statement, halimbawa, no, tapos nakita mo lang somewhere, kinopya mo, nilagay mo sa iyong resume, sabi ng HR, sabi ng interviewer, oh, you says here in your resume that you are an achiever with a track record of leadership in handling school organizations. Can you tell me something about it? Eh, ikaw kinopya mo lang, di ba? Tapos kay lami siya pamation. Oh, pag abot dito kay wa ka kapanuka, di magpitok-pitok imo mata unsaon na nimo, no, di ba? So, even if you have copied that, but make it sure that number one, those statements, no, those items there are reflective of who you are. And second is that napanukaran na nimo, no, na istudyohan na nimo, na studyhan na nimo. So you can cite specific examples based on your experience, no. Anong mga specific experience mo that will support your claim. All right? Okay. I hope that you're still listening, no? Kay delikado ra ba gyud ang oras afternoon. So kung nakapagkape kayo, better, no? So para alive and kicking kayo, no? Para sabay tayo. All right? By the way, this is the second session we have. We did our first session this morning, and kung halimbawa may problema kayo sa inyong internet connection, you can again watch the video in our YouTube channel, no, in the University of Mindanao YouTube channel. So don't forget to also hit the like button and the subscribe button, no? Follow us in our YouTube channel so that you will be updated for and then you will be notified for any newly uploaded video in our YouTube channel. Okay. All right. So there's another example here. Probably this applicant is an HRM graduate. And it says here that she or he has work experience in a Japanese restaurant. No? And most likely this applicant has applied for another Japanese restaurant. No? And then sabi niya dito that gets along well with people, trustworthy and reliable. So ikaw, paano mo ngayon masabi ang mga attributes mo? Pwede ka mag-post sa social media, sa Facebook account mo or sa Twitter account mo, tanungin mo yung mga friends mo, no? Friends, describe me in 2 words. Di ba? Yung mga ganun. So at least makita nila from the eyes of your friends o kung anong strong attributes meron ka. Okay? So some things that you have to watch in preparing your application letter, because we expect that your application, your resume are well written. And when I mean well written, these are free of any error. Okay. So for example, contact info, there is no contact info. There's a typo, and typo is a mortal sin because the documents that you are going to submit are computer generated. And when you type in the computer, especially in the Word, merong ang word, no? May autocorrect, 'di ba? So hindi na pwede magkamali ka ng spelling. Baka pwede ka pa magkamali sa construction, no? Sa grammar, but not in the spelling. Okay? There's a lot of information that you tend to forget, important information. And then you have different formats, no? You like to show to the hiring officer that you know all the format, no? Pero ang point there is that you have to be consistent. You stick to one format and one style and one font style. And then you are telling lies, no, embellishments, and you exaggerate things. Okay? So dapat hindi kasi it will be against the values that we espouse in the University of Mindanao of honesty and integrity. Okay? All right. So we are done with the first two documents, and 'di ba, kung maalala ninyo, sabi ko kanina that bakit after submitting your resume and your application letter, kung hindi ka na tawagan for the next step, no? Or you have not received any call, any follow-up call, whatever it is, about your application, simple lang yan. May problema sa pagkasulat ng iyong resume at saka ng iyong application letter. The way that your application letter and resume are written are not to the likings and to the interest of the hiring officer. So why will I spend time with you that where in fact these basic requirements of application you have not satisfied with, no? Okay? So hindi na, wala na, end na. All right? So kaya careful kayo. Kaya sabi ko, importante 'yon, no? That's very important yung pagsulat, pagbigay ng time, pag-concentrate, no? Because giving so much time and making sure that the documents that you have submitted to the hiring officer, to the company, adhere and conform to the standards is also again a realization of our core values in the University of Excellence, no? Pareho lang gud yan sa inyong klase, no? When you are required to submit documents, I heard from my colleagues in the office, no, your CAED 500 facilitators, I heard them that why is it that some students cannot follow instruction? O nagbigay na ng instruction, yung iba kinopya, nagkopya pa sila sa kanilang classmate, and they cannot trace now kung sino ngayon ang original kasi limang assignments, limang output, pareho ang laman, no? Pareho ng application letter. Pinalitan lang doon ang pangalan and everything are the same, 'di ba? So, what kind of attitude and what kind of values that you have if you are doing that? And number two is that, there is an impression of your generation, kayo mga Generation Z, no? Mga iGen, that you don't stick to one, you don't stay so much time in one stuff, no? Ayon yung magstay in a nook for quite some time. Kaya nga nauso sa inyo ang kasabihan na #walang forever. Kasi kayo yung henerasyon na mahilig maglipat, no, mag-hop from one to another. Kayo yung henerasyon na ang daling magsawa, 'di ba? Kaya nga kasi nauso sa inyo yung mga pabilisan, no, madalian, mga quick response team, mga quick chow and the like, no? So, unlike sa unang panahon ba nga, kung magluto ka, wa pagway rice cooker sa una, no? Maghaling ka pa, magkiss-kiss ka pa sa kawayan, magkiss-kiss ka pa sa bagol or sa bato para makahaling ka, di ba? So, grabe ang patience, no? So, sa inyo, when you prepare your documents, dapat you have to put your heart on it, no? Your concentration on it. Kasi your heart and your concentration and how serious you are reflect on your output. Makikita yan sa inyong output. So next up, is the most dreaded part of your application journey, which is the interview. And we're going to talk about how to ace in your job interview, no? That's why we are here because sabi natin, after your application paper and your resume, the next step is the interview. And for all you know, the interview is the deciding factor whether pwede ka sa trabaho, whether ikaw ang matanggap or hindi, no? So ngayon, na-interview ka, okay? Nag-undergo ka ng interview. After days, ilang days or months na, hindi ka tinawagan. Simple. There is something wrong in your interview, no? Your interview performance was not impressive enough to warrant your you're being hired for the position. Ganun lang yun kasimple, okay? Pareho ng mga beauty contest, no, ng mga Miss World and Miss Universe competition. If you have noticed, ang dami ng mga pinagdaanan, mga swimsuit, mga gown, whatever, no, mga national costume and the like. And the final and deciding factor is the interview. The top 5 or top 3 is the interview because you've been through a lot of screening, and the personality and the readiness of the person can be better measured based on the performance of the person when he or she opens his mouth, no, when he or she talks. All right, so sinasabi dito that preparation is half the battle. When you have, this is a Sancho art of war principle. So for those of you who have read the book of Sancho, this is a Sancho art of war principle. That when you go to a battle, when you go to something uncertain, you have to prepare for that. And when you have prepared well for that, half of that you win already. No? Okay. So how candidates behave during the interview is often seen as an indicator of how they will perform. That's why the interview is the deciding factor. Kasi kitang-kita mo ang tao, di ba? Pareho lang gud na sa kung nagkaila mo karon, may interest ka sa isang tao at nag-meet kayo sa social media. Alright? Ngayon, time for you to meet up. No? Okay. Ngayon, makita mo kung may chemistry ba, no? May match. Meron bang sparkle? Meron bang interest na pwede mamagitan sa inyong dalawa? So same thing with job interview. Based on the initial evaluation of the documents, there is a potential for this person to perform the job. Let me see this person if he can really perform the job in an interview. So let's discuss, let's communicate, okay? So that's the purpose of the interview. Sinasabi din dito that the better prepared you are, the less nervous you will feel and the more confident you will appear. So there's an impression that if you are not spontaneous in the interview, all right, um, there's an impression that you are not sincere in your answer. Although you know it's not true all the time, no? But the point there is that normal yan eh, no? Kung mag-AEO ka, no? Mas-stumble ka in your answers, di ba? Minsan mawalan ka ng words, mawalan ka ng ideas, normal yan. But there's an impression that if you are not spontaneous and if you stumble during the interview, therefore, you are not sincere in the interview. I mean, you are not sincere in getting the job. You are not sincere in your answer. Okay? So, you have to practice. No? You have to practice. And that's why in CAED 500, we are trying our very best that we can put up mechanism, a venue, an opportunity for you to participate in a mock interview so that because we believe that the more that you will undergo that kind of experience, that kind of dreaded experience, the more that you can gain confidence. And once you have the confidence, you know, it's easy for you to face dreaded experiences or dreaded situations, just like job interview. All right. And it also says here that the more you know about the company and position, the better you will sell yourself. It's just like, you know, looking for a partner, di ba? And well, there's some truth about the survey that 4 out of 5 says that they're after of intelligence. I think it's not about the intelligence of the person, but it's about the chemistry of the person. Beyond the intelligence, it's about, you know, the personality, the characteristic of the person. So you have to know the person, especially if you want that if you want to have a long lasting relationship to that person. 'Di ba? Ganun 'yun no? Same thing in a company. Same thing sa isang posisyon na gusto mo. Kung ako ang hiring officer and because I'm going to hire you, I have to make it sure that there's a perfect match between you and my organization, between your career ambition and between the organization's objectives, no? Gusto ko tingnan 'yon. Pareho din sa iyo, aplikante. Tingnan mo din ngayon kung merong perfect match sa inyong dalawa. So, what I'm trying to say is that before you go to the interview, you have to study well. Do some research about the company and the position. If you are working in the government, then find out what are the services of that government agency and what are the various recognitions, no, and potentials that this government agency is offering to the public, no? Okay, like services and the like. Okay. So during job interview, what's the hiring manager are looking for? Number one is the ability to perform the job. In short, why they will ask questions during the interview, what they want to know from you, what they want to hear from you. Okay, so these are the answers. Number one, your ability to perform the job. Do you Can you perform the job? Can you do the job? No, if the job requires you to operate a machine, manipulate something, no, operate an equipment, can you do that? No, if for example you're an IT or a computer science graduate, then therefore can you do all the stuff, all the specifics of an IT or a computer science professional? So that's the first question. No, your ability, your competencies, no, your training to perform, to do the job. Next up is your fitness. That refers to your culture, your personality. In short, that refers to your attributes, no? That refers to your attitude, that refers to your behavior, 'di ba? Okay ka ba, no? That's why you will be asked to undergo some psychological tests, no? Personality tests, something like that. And I think you have undergone that one in your CAED 500 component A, no? The Guidance and Testing Center has given you the Filipino values assessment test, no? Here in CAED 500, you are supposed to take the PTMI, no? The personality, the Philippine Talent Map Initiative, but we don't have access anymore of the instruments, so we are doing our best how to return, no, the instrument, because it will help us give an idea on what are the different competencies that you need improvement. Okay, so ikaw, fitness, culture and personality, saputon ka ba, no, may problema ka ba, sensitive ka ba, no, dali ba ka mabikil, mga yun anak good yung mga patabo, no, di ba? Okay. The third one is your motivation and enthusiasm. Are you driven by your career goal, by your career ambition, no? Or you are, personal motivation and personal interests overpower your career dream and aspiration in life, something like that, no? Your past accomplishments, how can you help the organization? Because your experience and your accomplishments also speak about what you can do in the future. Or if we are going to hire you, your accomplishments and your experience will also say something, will give us an idea on what can you perform, no? Or what can you do once you will be accepted for the position. Okay? Knowledge of the company. So pabalik-balik yung knowledge of the company because you want to establish a long-term relationship with the company, no? Hindi lang dapat uh, ang pagpunta mo dito, hindi lang dapat panakip-butas, no? While waiting for some career opportunities or whatever, dapat ano ka din, because we are going to invest, no? Invest financially and time and effort and training if we are going to hire you. So we also expect that we are going to reap out from that investment, di ba? We expect that you can also deliver expected output and productivity, no? Be out from our investment to you. So that's why you will be asked a question like, why do you want to work in our company? No? Okay. Communication skills, as I said, regardless of your course, of your career, no? Communication skills is of primordial importance because at several points in your career and in your employment, you are going to communicate, no? So when I say communication skills, it doesn't mean ability to speak in English, no, or fluency in English, but beyond that, no, when you say communication skills, you are that kind of person who can talk with sense, no? You talk with substance, all right? Kaya nga, balik tayo doon sa survey na 4 out of 5, ah itsuraan ka, bitaw, tinuod, itsuraan ka, dali ra ma-attract ang tao sa imuha. Pero may lang ka pang first instance, pang second instance, pero ugam ka istorya, ang kay lami ka uban, so i-dump na ka, no? Wala na, mahibong ka nga nung no one stays longer in me, no? Because ugam man pud ka istorya, wa man ka ngangamang ka, no, di ba? So something like that. When you say communication skills, it means that you can share so many topics, you can process information that is being shared by other person, and that you have the ability to say something about it. You know what I mean? The other one is job stability and loyalty. That's why you are being asked questions like, how do you see yourself 10 years from now or 15 years from now? No? Whether you are a more personal oriented person or a career oriented person based on your answer. Okay? Growth potential, interpersonal skills, critical thinking skills. No? Okay? Um, ang sample ko kaninang morning is that there are five senses, no, we have, but there is the sixth sense, the common sense, no. Common sense will tell us that how are you going to interpret and respond to varying situation. For those who are in the sciences, you have positive and normative science. You know what's positive science? Positive science is the situation that you are in right now. The normative science is how are you going to respond to varying situations. So sinasabi, positive science is about what is the reality, what is the situation. The normative science tells you that if this is the situation, then what ought to do, no? What ought to be, what should be your response given the situation. So example of that is critical thinking skills or common sense. No? How do you respond to varying situation? All right? Okay. Specific examples when you respond, then you have to cite specific examples, your experience, the situations that you have encountered. Para klaro, no, remember that job interview is not a beauty contest interview. It is a job interview, so the hiring officer is interested of how are you going to vividly respond to the question that I am raising to you. Okay. So in short, there's a job interview, and what's the hiring manager wants to hear from you are, number one, can you do the job? So answer ka lang about your skills, your talents, your abilities, and your competencies, no? Kay, that's the basic. Why I am looking for someone, because I wanted someone who can perform the job, no? Who can do the job, who can deliver the expected output. Okay, so do you have the skills? What are the specific requirements? No, do you have that? No, do you possess those requirements? Second, if you have the ability, if you have the competencies, then the next question is, will you do the job? No. So what about your interests, your motivation, and your right values to work? So for example, sabihan ka na, sometimes in our company, you have to work overtime, no? There are extended hours for you to work, diba? Or sometimes you will be assigned to other places, no? You need to travel to remote areas. Oh, you need to do that. Oh, 'di ba? Are you willing? So that's the willingness, no? The motivation. And as I said, as a young individual, you have nothing to lose. You have to take the risk. Okay? Because if you will not take the risk, it will not enrich, the things that are happening in your life, the usual things that are happening in your life, and you're okay with that. You don't go out in your comfort zone, no? You will not grow. Okay? You will not grow. Dapat kayo, mga Generation Z, mga iGen, dapat kayo yung generation that are hunger for new adventure, for new experience. Okay? Because again, you will never pass that stage of your life. Never. So, the experience that you will have right now is something that will make you a better person. All right? Make you a better individual. Okay. The third one is that will you fit in the company and its culture? So it's about fitness. It's about your interpersonal skills, your assimilation, your acculturation, your ability to embrace, no, the culture of the organization and your positive work attitude. All right? Okay. So ito ha, kaya dapat you have to remember all these three things because bakit ka takot, no? Bakit ka may tension-filled moment during job interview is you are uncertain of what questions will be asked and how to answer these questions. Eh, yun lang naman ang purpose eh. It's a job interview. It's not a beauty contest that you have to study about women empowerment, about environment, about drug addiction, and so many things that you need to study, all the things that are published on paper. No, it's not. This is a job interview and the topic is limited only to this stuff. Unya, pag abot sa job interview nga ka, di ba? So, dapat dili, no? Mapaghandaan mo to. That's why sabi natin at the start that preparation is winning half the battle. Okay? I hope you're still there and attentively listening to me, no? Merong nakasulat dito that being employed is a weakness and being employable is an opportunity. What is this? This is quite difficult to understand. But what is this? What does it mean when we say that being employed is a weakness and being employable is an opportunity? This is actually a thinking, a mindset, that especially in this pandemic, in this situation that we are in right now, that if your thinking is that, okay, maghanap ako ng trabaho kasi ayaw na ng parents ko na gastusan ako, naputol ng aking allowance at kailangan ko ng kumita, kailangan ko ng magkapera, hanap ako ng trabaho. Kung ganun lang ang purpose mo, yun yung sinasabi nating being employed. And in fact, for those who are in the business administration program, they are familiar with the Pareto principle. And what is the Pareto principle is all about? There is the 80-20 Pareto principle. And the 80-20 Pareto principle says that only 20% in the organization contributes to the 80% success of that organization. And the 80% contributes only 20%, no, productivity to the organization. So it's a question of saan ka ba nabilong? Nabilong ka ba sa 20% or sa 80%? 20% that contributes a whopping 80% or nasa 80% ka who only contributes a measly 20% output, 'di ba? So ngayon, kung ganon, halimbawa nasa 80% ka, you see the pandemic, well, except kung nasa gobyerno ka because you are assured that you will not be retrenched, no? But kung nasa private ka, kailangan magtanggalan or kailangan magsara ang company. Problema ka talaga nun, di ba? Because saan ka hahanap ng trabaho or if you are someone who is not so valuable in the company and the company can still survive even without you, di ba? So, nasa 80% ka. Or if you want to be in the 20%, that means that you are someone who is very valuable to the company and the company cannot afford to lose you no matter what, 'di ba? So, okay ka, no? Confident ka or even if the company halimbawa is hardly hit by the pandemic and it has to close shop, no? Magsara siya, tanggal lahat, walang maiwan, bayaran na lang, ganun, no? O sige, affected ka doon, but you're not afraid because it's easy for you to find a job because you are talented, you are skillful, no? It's easy for you because the time that you're still with that company, you have established networks with other company, okay? And that there is a potential that they will hire you. Oh, okay? So, yan yung sinasabi ko that being employed, yung mindset mo na magtrabaho ka lang kasi kailangan mo ng pera is a weakness. Kailangan mo i-change ang mindset na yan na dapat employable ka. No? Because once employable ka, no matter what the situation is, whether there's going to be a pandemic or a zombie apocalypse, still valuable ka, no? You can still find a job. Pero kung zombie apocalypse, may trabaho pa kaya? No, hindi na sa magtakbuhan na siguro ang mga tao, no? O, di ba? Okay. So, paano magiging employable? All right? These are the lists. These are the survey, no? And ito yung survey regardless of time, regardless of generation. This still holds true until now, no? Itong survey na ito, I got this 4 years ago and there's a recent survey released. Again, the list is still the same, no? So number one in the list is communication skills. At sinasabi ko na kanina that communication skills is not about fluency in English, but it's your ability to communicate well. You know, if we go out somewhere, if we go to a coffee shop and we talk some sensible topic, you're the person who can talk a lot and who can share a lot and who can process an information, no, from someone that you listen to, something like that. So that's what do you mean by communication skills, no? Okay. The other one is good human relations, all right? You have allowance for understanding the weakness of other person, 'di ba? You don't set specific standard. In fact, 'di ba, sinasabi nga the most important part of a relationship is understanding, no? You are there to understand the not only the strengths of your friend, of your partner, no, but also to understand their weaknesses, okay? And then work ethics, importante yan, no? Skillful. Oh, so limbawa, isang typical example niyan is kung marketing graduate ka. For a marketing graduate, you are expected that you can communicate well, no? You can write and you can speak well. Lalo na yun, speak, you can speak well, no? Magaling ka talaga magsalita. Pero there must be value added skill that you need to possess. For example, dapat may ability ka to do layout in a computer. So, marunong ka doon sa mga language ng layouting, ng mga deciding sa computer. Marketing ka, paano mo yun i-design? Kung gusto ka, may gusto kang idea na i-design or what, how are you going to do that? Diba? Kung hindi ka marunong. Kung hindi ka marunong, marketing student ka ngayon, then you have to find ways how to know that. No? Kasi that is expected of you. Kaya nga, sa business administration natin sa I think students are required to enroll in a driving course, no? Kasi magtrabaho kayo sa isang company, there will come a point that you will drive, no? Oh, so tapos hindi ka marunong mag-drive, 'di ba? Sa ating tourism program, I think meron kayong foreign language, no? Kasi tourism kayo no? You are going to deal with tourists and most of these tourists are foreign nationals, no? From other countries. So kaya meron kayong foreign language so that you can speak the language of your guests, of your clients. Okay? So that's what they mean by skillful. Magdagdag ka ng mga skills, mga ideas, okay? Mga talents, mga competencies. Innovative. Dapat innovative ka, no? Global vision, mature. Ayan. So, pag sinasabi mong mature, dapat hindi ka sensitive, hindi ka iyakin, di ba? Hindi ka mainit ang ulo mo, di ba? Morality, dapat you have the ability to determine what is right and what is wrong. Simple, no? So, kung mali yan, wag mo gawin. No? Kung ang ibang tao, hindi maganda yan for other people, wag mo din gawin, di ba? So, simple as that. Language, kaya importante, maganda siguro mag-aral ng iba't ibang language, no? Technology and financial proficiency, and then leadership. So, screenshot this one, and over time, I'm not telling that dapat ngayon meron na kayo nito, but I am saying that over time you try to develop these skills, no? And I'm telling you that you are employable, okay? No matter what the situation is in our VUCA world, ang ating pa namang world, students are VUCA world, no? Ano yung VUCA world? V stands for volatile, U stands for uncertain, C stands for complex, and A stands for ambiguity. Oh, yan talaga ang ating world, no? Hindi na pabago-bago pa iba-iba. So, ibig sabihin nun, kaya nga ang training sa inyo is that you have to be resilient, you need to be agile. So, we feel pity. We feel pity for those who are not in school. And I'm saying that you are lucky because despite the situation, you are still in school, and that the University of Mindanao is also very agile to respond to this challenging situation, and that we continue to provide the best quality affordable education for you, so that at least in our own little way we can contribute to your journey in this world, no? And the other one is that do not forget the core values of the university, no? Excellence, honesty and integrity, innovation and teamwork. Live to these values, and I'm telling you that you will be successful in life, no? Okay. Kaid na kaid talaga, no? Pang career orientation talaga. So let's go back to interview. In interview, there's the rule of three. What are the rule of three? Number one is that you have to be brief. Do not go around the bush, no? Kaya nga sabi ko, marunong kayo mag-communicate, marunong kayo mag-process ng information. Kung tinatanong kayo, ano kayang purpose of this question? Ano kayang intention ng interviewer? Bakit ito tinanong? No? Para hindi ka going around the bush. You go straight to the point, all right? You hit the bullseye, the target, no? Okay? And then you have to be articulate because expectedly sa inyong level, you've been through a lot of communication courses since elementary, high school, and in college. You are trained to communicate well. So therefore, it is expected that you can articulate well, no? You can speak well, no? All right? You can express yourself well, all right? With gusto and confidence. And then structure, no? Kasi kung wala kang structure, baka kahit ano-ano na lang ang sabihin mo, no? So dapat meron kang structure. Ito ang main idea mo, ito ang specific, and you close, all right? Pag sinasabi mo kasi structure, minsan based on my experience in CAED 500, in previous CAED 500, it's sad to note and frustrating to see here some students that wala talaga, no? I mean, for compliance purposes. For example, tanungin mo, if you were an animal, what animal would you want to be? Sasabihin, lion. Oh, okay. So hinintay ko, ano kayang next? Wala, sinabi lang lion. Why lion? Kailangan mo i-follow up. Why lion? Because you see, lion is a quiet but very strong animal. Okay. Oh, wa na di ito'y sumpay, no? Di ba? I mean, you are in a job interview, and the most important thing there is that you go back to the position. You connect your answer to the requirement of the position. So if you would say that you want to be a lion and that you see lion as a quiet but timid, but hindi naman siya timid, no? Quiet but strong animal, then how is that related to the position that I am a quiet person, so I can work in a nook? If you are going to give me a clear instruction, I'm sure I can follow that, but I am strong enough to fulfill the responsibility that is accorded upon me. Oh, di ba? So, ganun ka mag-answer, mag-connect. Meron ka structure, no? Hindi pwede na wala. Sasabihin mo, if I'm going to ask your teacher to describe you, how would they describe you? Sasabihin nila, I'm hardworking student. Okay. Wala na isumpay, no? Di ba? So, kalagot, labi kay kusion, no? So, if you would say that they will say hardworking, how are you going to support that? You know, my teacher really find me a hardworking student because whenever there are tasks and assignments given to us, I usually volunteer to lead my group and my team, and I have to make it sure that I can submit the output the assignment on time and even before the deadline set to us by our teachers. So that's why I am always commended by my teacher to be an industrious and hardworking one. O anak, good, no, di ba? So, meron ka talagang structure when you answer the question, all right? So, I'm excited for the mock interview, no, and find out whether you have learned something from our session today. Rule of marketing, address their needs. You're not the most important person, no, uh, or party during the job interview. The most important there is the company and the interviewer. So you have to always suit your answer to their likings and to their interest. Although importante ka man, pero you know, they hold the coffer. They hold the key to whom they are going to hire. And if you need the job badly, that's why you have to find how you are going to impress them. So you have to address their needs. If they're going to hire you, what's in it for them, and you focus on them. Okay? There are four types of interview questions, job interview questions. One is that simple questions. Why you need to know this type of interview questions? Because for you to be able to have an idea on how to attack your answer, how to frame your answer, okay? So one is simple questions. Simple questions require either yes or no answer or a one-word answer. They mainly serve to verify info on your resume and prepare you for more rigorous questions ahead. Kumbaga sa sakyanan pa na, pang ano ba, no? Pang primera pa na siya, pang builo pa na. Kung mag-drive ka og sakyanan na manual, di ka pwede mo diretso sa high gear, no? Moagi sa gyud ka first gear, second gear, and that's a simple question. But pasabot katihan ka pa no dapat to make you feel relaxed, make you comfortable of the environment and of the presence of the interviewer. That's why there are simple questions, no? And the other purpose of that is that they want to validate some things that you have mentioned in your resume. Number two, object questions. Ito na, no? Ito yung question na kailangan mo i-discuss, i-describe, magbigay ka ng sample. Alright? Ano yung mga experiences mo towards this? Ano yung mga situations na pwede mo ma-cite at ma-describe for you to be able to have a vivid explanation or vivid idea, no? That you want to share to the hiring officer or to the interviewer. Third one is mirror question. Ito siya, that's why you call it mirror because yung kanina, pwede most of the questions will be about your ability, your competencies. But ito, mirror questions will be more about your personality, your characteristics, your attributes. Kaya sa CAED 500, ang experience ko, some students would ask, Sir, mayroong mga question ba na feeling ko hindi siya relevant? Minsan naiinsulto ako, ganyan-ganyan. Kasi hindi maganda pagka question, no? Pangit yung medyo bastos, minsan something like that. Sometimes these questions are being asked to test you, no? To test whether how are you going to manage situations like that, whether you still maintain your compose even if you feel like you are being insulted or you feel uncomfortable of the questions. But the point there is that how are you going to manage yourself in a varying situation, especially in a difficult situations like that. Okay. And last, you have unconnected questions. So akin to mirror questions, you will find these questions not relevant at all. But again, this is a test. They want to probe. No, they want to probe further about you, about your qualification, about your personality. So careful kayo. No? Ayan, so if you were an animal, ayan, so what's the first thing you would do when you wake up in the morning? So some common questions asked during job interview, like number one, tell me something about yourself. So ganyan talaga yan, no? Tell me something about yourself. So it says here that you have to prepare a 1 to 2 minute synopsis of what qualifies you and what makes you the perfect candidate for the job. No? Describe your strengths, your accomplishments, and experiences relevant to the position. What do you know about our company? Oh, so try to reveal that you know not only facts about the company, but that you have taken an analytical view of the company. So sasabihin mo, ay ma'am, I have read your vision and mission statement which states that, oh hala. So memoryahon nimo ang vision and mission statement sa company, no? Hindi, ma-impress dayon ang hiring officer kay kuyawan ning bataan ni, oy na memorya man ang vision and mission statement. Ako man gani, dili man gani ko ka memorya, okay? So your vision and mission statement, which states that, is in line with my philosophy statement in life, which also states that, oh, so gawa ka din ng philosophy statement mo or career objectives mo na medyo relevant doon sa vision and mission statement ng company. No? Okay? And then sasabihin mo that you see, ma'am, with our vision and mission statement of your company and my philosophy statement in life, there is a perfect connection. There is a perfect match. And I believe that if I will be hired in your company, I believe that I can contribute to the furtherance of your organization, to the growth of your organization, and to the attainment of the objectives of your organization. And I also see myself growing in this company over the years. O, di ba? So, syaro dili kahilak kung tagok ana ang interviewer sa imuha, no? Okay? Third one, what is your greatest weakness? Do not say that you don't have weakness. No? Meron ka talaga weakness. But you know why this question is being asked? It's not about, I want to know your weakness. But what I am interested is that how do you overcome this weakness? And how do you try to make this weakness into some potentials? No? Or turn this weakness into a strength. All right? Or how do you show that you are not affected despite this weakness of yours? Okay? So do not say that you don't have a weakness at all, because no one is perfect. And if you're going to do that, you will be an arrogant sounding applicant during the interview. Okay? Why should we hire you? Okay. Don't be afraid to say that you are the best person for the job, no? And you have to support that with your qualifications, your experience, and all other things that you possess which you think are contributory to the fulfillment, to the performance of the job. Do you have any question? No. Do not leave. Ito ha. Do not leave the interview area and do not let the interview session end without you asking any question. It's a no-no. You have to ask question, okay? At anong klaseng question ang pwede mong itanong? Well, mga career related, no? Anong career opportunities na meron ng company, all right? So yung mga ganon, no? Yung iba kasi pag sinasabi, do you have any questions for me? No, no ma'am, no sir. Okay, excited na siya nga mahuman na ang job interview. No, hindi pwede. Dapat mag-ask talaga kayo ng question. What can you contribute most to our organization? Alam ma'am na adi amutan, kay contribute man. Tagpila pud ang amutan. Nag-apply gani ko kay wa koy kwarta o nya mag-amot di ay, o di ba? So basi mo anak ka dito. Well, you can say that over and above my well appreciated and commended performance in the university and during my on-the-job training, I work harder and am more committed to work than most people. Come to think of this, ma'am, that next to my relationship together and my family comes my work. O, di ba? So, syaro dili kahilak og tagok ang imuhang interviewer ana, no? Last na, malapit na talaga ako matapos. Few slides na lang. I know that you are excited to end the session na, no? Others are also experiencing problem in their internet connection. So as I said that you can again watch the session today in our official YouTube channel in the University of Mindanao. Well, there's an interview done by PMAP. PMAP is an organization of HR managers in the country. They did a survey about what are the common interview mistakes done by applicants. And topping the list is answering cell phone or texting. No? So during job interview, the suggestion there is a strong suggestion that you have to switch off your phone or turn your phone into silent mode. Okay, and then that's followed by dressing inappropriately. That's why in CAED 500, one session that we are going to have for our next meeting is that we are going to talk about personality, no, development, or what proper attire, interview attire you are going to wear. And then 69% appearing disinterested. Fourth, appearing arrogant, no? And then you have appearing unprepared, and then chewing gum, mura kag kanding during job interview. I understand others will do that para to manage their tension or their emotion, but it will not look good at all. It will be a demerit on your part. So do not chew gum. Not providing specific answers. So again, job interview questions are not questions given during the Miss World or Miss Universe competition that there's a time limit. For job interview, no, there's no time limit. So you have to cite specific answers, no? Experience or specific situation. Cite a situation that is relevant to your answer. And then not asking good questions. Ayan, sabi ko na kanina, no, baka pagdating sa interview, hindi kayo nagtatanong, gaya ngayon, no, after my session, pag sabi ko, thank you, tapos na. O, any question, walang magtanong, di ba? So, has kang haguan ako gyaw-yaw, tapos walang may mangutana. So, kasi kung walay mangutana manggod, it's akin to like, you don't you don't passionately listen to what I'm talking, no? Because it's about processing the information, o, di ba? Critical thinking yan eh, no? Ang feeling pa naman ako karon kay walay tao diri sa akong palibot na mura kong nagstorya na agani kos kanang kalubinan nga nagstorya sa mga bukong. Mm. Tapos after my session, pwede ko makitang tao diri. After my session, pwede mangutana, di ba? So sad kayo ang life ana oy, no, di ba? Mm. So mangutana gyud mo, mag-ask mo og question. Pitag yung kumahuman. I think I mentioned that some hiring officer or HR, they do background investigation by checking your social media account. So, because that's one way of validating, looking at the potential and the personality of the person by looking at the social media posts of the applicants. So, careful kayo. Meron tayong tinatawag na social media etiquette to avoid or mga social media no-nos. One is that blustering or attacking other person's character or engage with organization's failure, no, or mistake. Oh, so dayon ka, no, yaw-yaw ka sa mga PLDT, sa mga globe kay mawa ang connection ana. Pag maglinog, post dayon ka na naglinog, di ba? Paunahanay di ay post, di ba? So I mean, as much as possible, do not post something that is not that has no sense at all. No, because you are in a different level of your life, of your career, no? In your professional life. So dapat professional ka din sa mga way ka mag-act at saka sa way ka mag-post sa imong social media account, alright? Hmm. And then the other one is foul, profane, vulgar words, no? Suko kayo ka, suko ka sa sana sa mga PLDT, masuko ka sa Davolite, kay nagsige brown out, no? Unya, sa may mo di mo ana, ngano ka mag-post sa social media. Nasuko ka sa imong kasakay sa jeep, kay taas kay buhok, paghangin, nanuksok ang mga buhok sa imong ilong ug sa imong dunggan, ya imong gi-post sa social media, di ba? Unsa atong mabuhat ana, di ba? Imong ta atong gibadlong, no, di ba? So, it's not good. Or mag-share ka og mga post nga dili original, no? So kung mag-post ka, dapat you need to comment, you need to say something about it, no? After all, it's not your posts, all right? So kung wala ka man lang ma-post na maganda sa buhay mo or sa social media account mo, wag ka na lang mag-post, wag ka na lang magsalita, okay? Keep it to yourself. Hmm. Okay, so I think that's all for my talk. I will stop sharing and I'll give the floor again to Benji. Nawala na si Benji.
Yes, sir. I'm still here. All right. So thank you very much, Ray, for your talk. And so this time, students, you have now the privilege to ask question. So please ask questions so that sir will not be frustrated. So you can use the Q&A button, or you can use it, so that you can type your questions. Okay, and then for those students, no, they are joining us through YouTube, please also ask questions. You can type your questions to the chat box. Okay, so we're waiting. Di klaro ang tingog. Okay, please ask questions. You can use the Q&A button no, sa webinar dito sa webinar so that you can recognize your questions.
And while waiting for questions, maybe Benji or Glenn or May can sing a song. Wala sila question. Apa ba'y tao? Murag wa naman siguro.
Meron sir, meron question. Ah. First question from Moreno. Sir, during an interview for a newbie, what is the best way in order for you to stay calm?
Well, formal advice is that ano mo na, i-manage mo lang talaga emotion mo, no? Dapat hindi ka gutom, no? Baka ma-collapse ka or what, no? 'Di ba? So, that's why what we're doing here in CAED 500 is that we would like that all of you can undergo a mock interview because the more that you can experience a job interview, the more that you can gain confidence. Ganun lang naman yan, di ba? So, just like if it is your first time to travel, unang beses ka mag-travel, natitense ka. Pero every time ka na marami ka na experience sa isang bagay or lalo na pag travel confident ka na. So the same thing sa job interview. So don't worry, wag mo lang isipin na kung magkamali ka, learn from that experience. May allowance naman yan sila, no? Kaya nga, kailangan mo i-manage yung feeling na yon. Second, merong scientific explanation ata, yung maalala ko noon, dahil pinapadala ako sa mga competition, yung mga oration, ganyan. Sabi ng coach ko, maglagay daw ako ng coins sa shoes. Ngayon, hinanap ko ang explanation yan. Meron daw scientific explanation kasi ang metal will absorb the negative energy in your body. Kaya daw yung may ganon coins. I do not know no, if it works. Basta noon, ginagawa ko lang yan. So you can probably do that also. Alright? So ano lang yan, constant practice. No? Constant practice, ma-manage mo ang feeling mo. Go with people who can help you. No? Nung may in-applyan ako na trabaho noon, tapos very uncertain ako just like sa level ninyo ngayon, buti nga kayo may CAED 500, may magbibigay na ng tip sa inyo. No? Noon wala talaga. So ang ginawa ko, may friend ako, he's very good. No? Magaling talaga siya. He's a doctor. Uh, every time na may interview ako, scheduled interview, I always ask help from him na, a friend, pag ganitong question, paano ko kaya sagutin? Ganun lang naman ang idea. Dapat may idea ka on how to respond for each and every question that will be thrown at you. Thank you, Miss Moreno ba ito, no?
Yes, sir. So next question is from Leonisa Benaflor. Sir, ask ko, what if there's wala pala experience sa work? So what should be put in a resume?
But I understand that all courses, all programs in the university require students to undergo OJT. No? So what you can put there in your experience is your OJT experience. That will already count as your experience. All right? Second is that, di ba, nag-mention ako kanina na you do some extra volunteer works, participate in various programs, student activities in the university because that will count as experience. Ibig sabihin, nung level na estudyante ka pa, meron ka ng ganyang experience. Ibig sabihin nun, pag i-hire kita, you will also play an active role in my organization. So, wag kang mag-worry kasi meron naman talaga kayong experience, no? Yung inyong OJT, Plus, dagdagan nyo pa ng ibang experience by participating in student activities. So kung may mga request sa inyo, invitation sa inyo sa inyong college, ang OSA or any office in the university or even in your community, participate on those stuff. No? Thank you, Leonisa.
Next question, sir, from Moses. How many spaces are needed when making an application letter?
Well, pwede naman single space. Nakita nyo nung sample kanina, no? Single space for each sentence, two spaces for each paragraph. The specific will be explained by your CAED 500 facilitators. No? So when they will require you to submit your sample resume and sample application letter, your CAED facilitators will give you the specific, the details, no? The requirements and the instruction.
Okay, another question, sir, from Jovid. Is it possible that those questions you mentioned are also asked in the future when we apply for a job?
Possible that those questions, kaya nga, those are common questions, which means that y- in most cases, those questions will really prop up in your job interview. Because find out what is the intention of asking those questions. Like for example, tell us something about yourself. Yan ang pambungad na pananalita eh. They want to test whether you know how to introduce yourself. Kaya sabihan ka na, please tell us something about yourself or please introduce yourself. 'Di ba? Oh, so while we are still browsing your resume, or as if we are browsing the resume pero nabasa na gud na nila, no, as if lang basa-basa ana-ana, because they want to know whether you can introduce yourself. Yung tanong naman about why do you want to work in our company? Pareho ra gud na sa, di ba, kung manguyab or mag nakay na interesan nga tao. Anong gusto man kanako o nganong imo man kong gipanguyaban or kung sugton ka ko nimo nganong sugton man pud ko nimo. So pareho ra gud na, di ba? So there must be something gusto gid ka nga makadungog nga ganahan ka sa ako. So same thing no sa isang company, that why do you want to work in my company? Because I want to hear nice words from you. I want to see whether you have prepared for this journey of yours. Okay? So the answer there is yes. That's why I have given those questions to you, because those are common questions. So yan, si Eunice may sagot. Pwede ba bilingual? Ano yung bilingual, Bench?
Sir, I think she's referring to a code switching, like English and then you switch it to Tagalog or
Okay.
somehow Bisaya. There's
Okay.
also a question of princess sa YouTube.
Okay. Uh, the rule is this. If the interviewer asks you in English, do not outsmart the interviewer by responding in, in French or in German language, whatever it is. You have to go with the level of the interviewer. So if the interviewer is asking you in English, you have to respond in English. If the interviewer is asking you in vernacular, then you respond to vernacular. Sinasabi nila, why not in English, sir? The interviewer might be testing you whether you can speak in English. No, because if the interviewer is asking you in Tagalog or in Bisaya and you respond the interviewer in English, balik tayo doon sa arrogance, no? So you are outsmarting the interviewer in that sense. Now, what if you are not so comfortable? If the question is in English and you don't feel comfortable answering the entire question in English, will it be okay for you to say in vernacular, respond in Tagalog or in Bisaya? I suggest you ask the permission from the interviewer. Ma'am, can I say, also answer the question also in Tagalog or in Bisaya? I'm tense right now, so but I'm trying my best. I'm okay, but I'm trying my best. No, so which means that you have to tell ahead of time to the interviewer that you are going to speak also in vernacular, in Tagalog or in Bisaya. Okay, all right.
From Jai Ramos, sir. Will stuttering affect the interview, sir, the result of the interview?
I think I mentioned that. As that's why as much as possible, the idea there is that you have to develop confidence, no? Because if you stutter, if you are not spontaneous and others are doing good, simple. I mean, if you are in the position of the hiring officer, they will really consider someone who have performed well in the interview. You know what I mean? So, if you are asking me if it's okay, wala talaga tayong magawa no, no? Pero if you are going to ask me kung ma-hire ba ako, if there are other applicants who perform better than you are, I think you really have to develop the confidence. You have to practice that. No? That's why it's important. Maalala ko noon ha, ang isang experience ko when I was in college and when we were about to graduate, I have a small group of friends that, uy, hala mga apply na tagtrabaho, no? Mangita na tagtrabaho ka ng, sige daw, mag-session daw ta. There were four of us. Mag-session daw ta. Unsa kaya ang mga question, no? Sige daw, sige. Pangutan na daw ko. So magsulat mi sa isa ka papel, tapos bunuto na mo, no? Tapos, oh, sige, mao daw ni ang question. Pa, answer. Tapos mag-comment din to akong mga ubang friends na, uy, medyo mali ka dito good. Anak mo dapat ang imong answer. Uy, na-stutter ka dito. Dili ka spontaneous. Ana-ana good. So, I think you can do that, no? I mean, find ways how are you going to develop confidence. Because kung tanungin mo ako, would that be okay? Hindi siya okay, no? 'Di ba? Kasi may iba that who can perform better. Oh. So paano mo ngayon sila matalo? First phase pa lang, first stage pa lang sa ganung level pa lang, hindi na no, nawala na yung confidence mo. Okay? So, kaya pag-aralan ninyo 'yan. You still have enough time while you are still in school. All right? In our office, Benji, no, we are si Benji is in charge of the Career Development Center ng University of Mindanao. And we keep on thinking of programs that will help our students, especially how to develop the self-confidence. We understand that sa inyong level, alam nyo, ako matanda na ako so I've been through a lot of experience. No? Pero sa level ninyo, normal yung feeling na ganon. Okay? Kaya kailangan tulungan namin kayo, how are you going to develop that confidence and how are you going to master the art and style of responding to job interview questions?
Right, sir. Another question from YouTube, from Lee Bretcher Boy, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Can you give us some tips on how to answer an insult question from the interview?
Ganito yan. If, okay ba ako? If you don't feel responding to the question and if you are not comfortable with it, just tell the interviewer that you if you may not answer the question, no? Uh, if he may allow you not to respond to that question because at that moment you really don't have an idea on how to respond the question properly. All right? So that's how are you going to do it. Naghang ba ako? Parang hindi ata nagbo-move ang aking
Okay,
screen.
sir. You can, marinig ka man, sir.
Okay ba? O sige. So ganun siya, no? If you are not comfortable responding to questions like that, then you tell the interviewer that you apologize. I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, ma'am, that right now I really don't have any idea how to respond to that question, no? So ganun lang.
Another question, sir, from an anonymous attendee. What can we do with the bias of companies who prioritize applicants coming from famous universities like the ALU schools?
Like the
ALU schools?
well, actually I don't think that biases are still there, no? That depends on the ability of the applicant because same thing with us, there are companies, I'm telling you ha, there are also companies which the HR are from the University of Mindanao and they have biases also in favor to the graduates of the University of Mindanao, but at the end of the day dapat mamagitan sa kanila yung kanilang interest ng company and not the experience or not the university where they come from, 'di ba? So still at the end of the day it's about your ability, uh, your performance during the interview, no? So wag kang maniwala doon, no? Dapat walang ganun na thinking. Kung meron man, well, for sure it will not end your ambition, no? Your aspiration, your dream of being successful in your career. This company might not be for you. Then you look for another one. Okay?
All right. So I think, sir, those are it's the last question.
Oh, maraming question. Very good.
Ito, sir, from Agnes, meron pang isa. Paano daw maging confident sa harap ng panel even though kinakabahan ka na?
Ako, ang tip ko lang talaga, base sa experience ko, kailangan ko meron akong attire, no? Meron akong mga wardrobe for job interview or for any type of interview or for any type of formal occasion. Because when I wear them, I feel it can bolster my confidence. I think there's something on those wardrobe of mine that can make me confident. I mean, siguro pagtingin ko sa salamin, maganda ako tingnan, no? Respectable ako tingnan, no? Very professional ako tingnan. Yun lang naman ang akin, no? Dapat preparado ako physically. Kaya importante yung personality development. Kaya yan yung ating next session, no? Merong mga colors and attire that can help uh, convince and change the perspective and tone down the personality of the one doing the interview. So may mga ganon. That's number one. Number two, alam nyo, bago ako magpunta sa isang interview, kailangan ko talaga i-practice yung aking mga alingag-ngag, mga ba na ko pag storya, no? So that I will be spontaneous. I will not stutter, no? I will be spontaneous in responding to questions. And I have to I have to foresee what are the possible questions. So anong klasing ano ba ito, no? Applyan ko ano bang klasing interview meron ako, no? Pupuntahan ko. So I do my research. Like for example, isang dreaded interview experience ko was when I applied for a US visa, no? Bakit dreaded 'yun? Because exchange program kasi 'yon, no? And I heard that those who were interviewed ahead of me, their visa applications were denied, three of them. And we're supposed to be 8 or 9, I think, no? So tatlo na sa amin ang na-deny ang visa. Tapos ako na ang next for interview. Grabe ang tense ko noon. So ako, tinatanong ko, ano ba usual ang mga tinatanong during the visa application? Nagsisearch ako sa internet, nagtatanong ako doon sa mga na-interview na. So it gives me an idea, what questions to be asked, and at least I have an idea on how to respond to these questions. So ganun, kaya kailangan nyo talaga i-prepare ang sarili ninyo.
One last question. Any tip daw for a phone interview?
Ano daw?
Phone interview.
Ano daw ang full question niyo?
A tip for cell phone interview.
Phone interview, kailangan mo lang talaga ng may magandang connection kasi irritating yung putol-putol ang connection. So hanap ka ng magandang connection. Number two, ang advantage nun, di ba? I think it's less tension, less, di ba? Less ang tension mo doon, less ang kaba mo because hindi mo makikita ang tao, no? So medyo makagain ka ng confidence kung paano mo sagutin ang tanong. But for sure, questions are the same. In terms of content and style, it's just the same. Kung hindi naman siya ganito, virtual, no, na makikita, less din na ma-assess ang iyong non-verbal communication. And we are going to talk more of non-verbal communication in our next session. So, ganun lang, no? I think less ang tension mo doon. So, dapat more confident ka.
So thank you very much, sir, for um, those answers to the questions of our students. I think wala naman. So thank you so much, Sir Ray, for your time for this session of CAED 500 for Component B seminar. So there are also other questions with regards to the format no of application letter and resume. So those topics no will be specifically be given to you guys. No, will be lectured no by your coaches. So you just wait for the announcement no, sa LMS para alam niyo ang schedule for the Component B class meeting. Also, with regards to the question kanina no, sa mock interview, schedule also for that no, will just be posted on the LMS. And on March 2, we will have another session with Sir Ray Castro, and that's the componency seminar wherein we're going to tackle no, nonverbal communication. And of course, the mock interview, no, we will have a sort of activity no, on that seminar. So please be guided on that and be excited no, to learn more about no, those things in order for you to be able to be ready no, sa future career ninyo. All right. So in terms of attendance, no, please again find time no, to or visit your LMS no, for the instructions. Anong gagawin ninyo? So yung mga coaches ninyo, I know na they're now posting no, instructions with regards to the attendance para sa ating Component B seminar ngayon. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much and God bless. Keep safe everyone.